Are you ready to make some scrappy birds? Well, what you need is some kind of little body shape. You can see mine. I cut one going in both directions of 2 colors. That will make 4 of these 6.5-inch blocks that I have. And I've got all these scrappy pieces from different scarves that I'm going to use to embellish the base fabric here for this scrappy bird. We're just going to do whatever we want to. We're going to try to give each of these birds their own personality. Okay, so we're gonna just build them the way we want to build them, and then we're going to put them on 4 different blocks, and we're going to see if we want to stop there and make a wall hanging out of it, or whether we want to go on make a bigger one, or whatever it is we want to do with it. But I really want to demonstrate how I make scrappy birds, and it's not difficult at all. So come along with me. Don't hang back, because you're going to miss something if you do. All right? All right, let's get started then. First thing that I do is try to audition different pieces and things that I think might look good. Now, each of my little birds, I want to put him in a little nest, and I'm thinking I will put a little branch of some kind to just set this little scrappy thread nest in, and then I might can just bring a leaf or 2 up and give it some kind of composition that says this bird is in a tree and he's in a nest, and you can see the tree limbs, maybe a leaf or 2, and his little nest here. We'll embroider him some little feet to go down in there. So we see that about what we want to get here, and that we want to keep these in on the sides, that probably a good inch, so that we have room to put sashing in between our squares, and then our sashing across the top and the bottom. So we might move it up just a little bit here and give me a little more play on the bottom, so that my sashing will have room down there and up there. Okay, so something like that. You don't want it to be too large or overwhelming, just enough to give a story or make a reality for your little bird. So it makes sense that he's sitting on this block, okay? And so whatever you want to use, these are scrap threads, this is scrap ribbon, and then we'll be working on this little bird, all right? So I know that this is basically what I'm going to do with this. So I will take these elements off, or I can just leave them right there for now, because what I'm going to be working on is my bird. So I'll just take the block and leave the elements on it and set it aside, and decide now what I'm going to do with this little bird. All right, you want to make your bird interesting, but you don't have to make him just totally bird-like. I mean, what you might think would be bird-like. You might take some license here as an artist and just create your own little scrappy bird, okay? Whatever you think might work. Might work. All right, so just play with some things that you've got. Don't forget layering. Layering is very important. Let's do some little... Let's do... Okay, now nothing has to be written in stone. Nothing has to stay. You will appreciate a pair of tweezers because it's working fairly small if you're working on a square the size that I am. And I need my bird to stay about this size. Let me give you some kind of idea what he is. Across he's 3 inches like that. Fattest part he's 2 inches, so from the tail across he's about right at 3 inches, maybe an inch more there. But across the main part it's 3 inches, and across the fattest part he's 2 inches. So he's pretty small, but he's just right for what I want to do. I want to put a little bling in here. So what I'm doing is I'm layering up things that I'm going to audition here to see if my bird likes it. If my bird doesn't like it, then I can always take it off. Right? Right. Now I need a face to give it some kind of continuity, and to do that, let me see, I want to do a normal piece of fabric here. Let's make a circle. This is cotton. What I'm using on the other part is leftover fabric from the scarves. Let's just start with a circle and see if it's going to be the right size. If it's not, we'll cut another one. We'll give him some kind of a little head here. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll have to put a beak on him and all that kind of stuff. And we want to, make his tail look good and see what we can do with that. Let's cut him some tail stuff here. I'm just cutting up some gauzy fabric here. I'm going to try to layer it up just a little. Shape it down a little and see what that might look like. If I put some behind and some on top. How much do you need? Whatever you think looks good. What kind of tail do you want your little bird to have? Okay. I think I want a little bit of that blue sticking out up there. So I think I'm going to do it more like that. And for right now, we're going to put the little head right there. And we're going to, let's see if I can find, always looking for the right fabric, Let's see here. And what you audition may not be what you end up with. So don't sweat it, Just get something on there to give you places to start, okay? So we got an eye. And we need a beak, so let's get some kind of a beak out there for him. Or her. Let's just see what we're doing here. Okay, that's looking pretty good shape-wise. Now, when I get to this point, I think, all right, am I pretty happy with this, or am I not? And I really like what I have, but I think I need something under this piece right here. I think I have still too much blue showing, and I also want to put something right in there. Not quite sure what that might be. I have a little bit of red fabric here. Might look good on there. Let's see if I can find a piece to cut off here. We don't need a whole big piece, we just need a little piece. But we need it. We need it to look like a breast throat type thing. Okay. Just keep playing till you get some kind of thing you like. And I think my head's too big. Let's cut it down just a little. Let's just shave off some of this head. Some of these choices you can't make until you start putting things together. And you see how, okay, that doesn't work very well. I need to do something different. Let's take this off, put this back on. Put the eye back on, put the nose back on. Okay. Well, I'm thinking that that's probably, I think I might have cut it too little then. Let's put the bigger one back on. Yep. 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 It needs the bigger one. See, you won't know till you try. And this is not working well. Let's see if I can just take a piece of something else. What do I want here? You got all kinds of choices, but not necessarily are they going to work. That's an interesting looking piece. It's not too wild. Gives the eye some, it gives the head something to sit against. And then I think I want to set this maybe on that. And give that a little bit more. Now the head will go on top of all this stuff. So I need to bring it back. You know what? We can do this right here. A lot of birds have a very pretty feathers right under their head. I might do something like that. And then we might bring this over, this up a little. And okay, now I'll tell you right now that stitching makes a world of difference. So don't judge your bird before you stitch it. And let's see, I think I'm going to play with these purples down on this tail, because now that I've got the other colors, I'm not liking that color. I might like some of it, but let's just put some little pieces together here. Got some little points on them. Let's stick one of these in there with it. And layer it some more. Okay. All right. I'm liking that a little bit. All right. Then what I can do is take a small piece of this, these two little pieces, and put something purple in there and see what happens. Let's put one on the bottom and one on the top, like that, and stick him on there. All right, now I like that, except I don't want it coming quite that high up. Let's see. Let's take the bird off and move that down. Reposition it further down. Yeah. Okay. Now the head goes back up there. The beak will be about like that. This piece will be in here for some color. And I could put a thin piece right there for continuity. I like tying things together when I can. So if I were either that, or I could run it under the bottom. Let me see which way I like it better. And however many layers, it doesn't matter. You layer until you get what you want. Okay? Layer until you get what you want. All right, that is going to be my first bird, and I am going to stitch him with these elements. Okay, now I'm going to have to stitch him on the background because these fabrics are very flimsy and I don't have a substantial way to hold them. So let me bring my square back. Let me move my big bird. put this somewhere I think it will fit. I have to move it again. And that piece goes on there. And then take my bird, put him in here. Okay, I'm going to have to lift it up, move it up, keep it within a realm where you can put your sashing on. Okay. Pull your bird up. I will be using a dark beak, so now when I get that stitched, it's going to look entirely different. Okay, but I think those colors work really well. When I get some feet going down into here, and I get some substantial stitching down in here, that's going to look pretty cool. Now, probably I'm going to use this kind of sashing, so that sashing will be around like that. Okay. So I know my head size is going to be all right. I'm going to stitch all these elements down. Now, how am I going to do that and keep things the way they're supposed to be? For right now, I'm going to just pin some of these elements so that I keep the composition in play. Okay. I don't have to get everything down perfectly because I'm probably moving them around a little bit, but I just want to keep the composition down there. Okay, now my bird head and beak is going on, or after I get the body. So I'm going to take it off so that I can just work on the body itself. So I'll be pinning in the feathers. I put a lot of stitching in my birds because the stitching adds to the feather effect. Okay, I don't need this part here sticking up, so I'm cutting it off. And keeping that in place. Now I can stitch on my bird without losing my composition, and I can put my head on last and the details on that. Okay, so now that's how I'm going to begin my scrappy bird. So you grab your scraps and play along with me, and let's have some feathers in the wind.